Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a reading for Taurus. So Taurus, as usual, I'm doing this reading with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you see are from this deck. So Taurus, it seems like your higher self is waiting to have a conversation with you, and it feels like they have been waiting for some time. It's almost like they have been waiting for you to just look to the side and realize that they're there waiting to talk to you. And it seems like they have like this eternal patience, but you also have this patience which seems to be dedicated to a work that you're doing, which right now it feels like it's endless, but it's not discouraging you, or it's not taking you from that path of, diligently doing the work and putting in the work and showing up for this path. But this higher self of yours, they are really wanting to point to you a specific lens that wants to be like this very loving and very beautiful and very surprising encounter. And it feels like you might not be expecting that that's what this higher self of yours is trying to show you, because I feel like you do have the intuition that your higher self is there waiting to talk to you, but it feels like you're also so dedicated to your work that it's almost like you're telling yourself, right, in your mind, to your higher self, that you don't have time right now to deal with them. It's like you have work to do, so it's like they better be patient anyways. And here they are showing up as your first card with the Strength. So this is your higher self, and it's interesting because the way that this card showed up, and it often comes through as this very important figure, right? This authority figure, but kind. It's not this intimidating figure. The thing about the Strength for you in the context of the other cards that I'm going to show you, especially, okay, you're showing up here as this Knight of Pentacles. So you are working your way towards something that you don't even know exactly what it is, because, the Knight of Pentacles, it's not really concerned about the destiny or, the end goal or the result or the outcome or arriving at a destination. It's just interested in the journey, which I feel like this is your stance. This is how you're showing up today, Taurus. This Strength, this higher self of yours, they are embodying this very empathetic, very compassionate, strong figure. But although they have like this eternal patience, they could be waiting for eternity for you to decide to look their way. But it's almost like they're becoming a little bit impatient, right? It's not, this is just metaphorical way to express the energy of this one. It's like they're growing, right? It's like they're becoming more fiery. They're becoming more, not anxious, or it's just like they want to get your attention. They want you to look at them. It's like it's crucial that you put aside this work that you're doing just for a second, because what they're trying to do with the Magician coming next, but actually the Magician came sideways. And whenever I see the Magician sideways, I see this image as, this camera lens. And this is the veil, right? It's like the role that this higher self is playing right now is to get you to turn to the other side of the veil where the stars are. So look up at the skies, look up at the stars, look up at, whatever is not your work, not in your desk, or, in your routine or in your schedule. It's like, because, you see how the night is facing this way, and it's like your higher self is like they're here waiting patiently for you to decide to look in their direction, because what they're trying to get you to do is to look to the other side. So again, it's like they are this very powerful energy, right? This entity that is beyond the human personality, but they have this personality type of reaction or quality to their presence that it's becoming more, it's like it's becoming more pressing. It's like you need to look at them, Taurus. You cannot, just distract yourself with your work. And it's not like you're distracting yourself with your work, but it's like you are diligently dedicated to doing something that you know that is piling up, that is a lot of work, and it's endless. It seems like it's endless, but it's like you're enjoying that because you're seeing like how constructive it is, how enriching it is, how valuable it is. So it's almost like, if this is so valuable to you, why would this other thing that you don't even know what it is would be as attractive or interesting, right? It's almost like this is like this internal dialogue. It's almost like you're saying to herself, but can't you see that I'm doing important work already? Like, why do you want me to look this other way? It's like this very funny dialogue. But again, it's like they're coming because, okay, so one thing that I didn't mention, it's important. It's like they're not saying anything, which, it's often how things work in these other dimensions, these other realms. It's like they don't necessarily communicate with words, right? But, and they could use telepathy. This internal dialogue could be this ongoing thought conversation. But the way that I feel like they are really trying to get your attention, Taurus, is through the eyes. Because it's like the eyes are the most gentle but effective way that they have to get you to turn towards them. So, and because that's the other thing, right? It's almost like they are trying to, through your own eyes, make you look the other way. So maybe that's the reason why they're coming through as communicating with the eyes, because they want you to turn away momentarily, I want to say temporarily, away from your work and then towards this other lens that is pointing to the stars. Because, okay, so the thing about the Magician sideways is this really big lens, right? If we think of, this photography type of, professional camera, right? This, very potent big lens. That's the type of equipment or tool or technique, ability to get to the other side. But here it is, like your higher self saying, I'm handing this to you. Can you please just look? Like your own task is just to look to the other side, right? And the thing about this lens also is that whenever I think of this Magician with this camera lens, it comes through as this adjustment in the focus. But this isn't necessarily the first thing that you do. It's almost like, even if you are a little bit reluctant to put aside the work that you're doing and look the other side, look the other way towards this lens, it's almost like you're looking at something that you don't know exactly what it is. So it's almost like you're not that interested. It's like you're not, making a big effort to adjust the lens. So it's almost like you're just looking, but you're not really seeing. You see what I mean? And with this Emperor coming next, it's so interesting. I've never seen this image, but so use a little bit of your imagination with this, because I'm trying to convey something that I'm seeing that is not exactly here, and I wouldn't probably be able to, place the cards in a way that conveys this, but I'll try. Imagine that the veil, it's kind of like a curtain made of leaves, right? So it's like a very natural, a very fragile even, but very organic, very light veil. It's not like a wall, right? And you get to peek through to like a secret spot, in this natural landscape. Because the image that I was seeing with this Emperor was like this peephole to the secret garden. So now it's not just, you know, looking up to the stars or to the sky or to the night sky or to the other side, right? Or to the other dimensions, but it's almost like whatever you are seeing on the other side, it's like a resemblance, like it's like the landscape, it's going to feel very organic. It's going to feel very very like Earth, right? It's not going to feel otherworldly. It's not going to feel different than your current reality. And maybe that's also the reason why they're getting you to look the other side, because it's like here you are looking down, focused in your work in this reality, but it can be so much more enriching, much more valuable, much more like abundant, but abundant because you're now understanding that you can peep through this hole, you can look to the other side, and you can get to this, you know, very privileged perspective, in a sense, to a secret garden, to a secret spot that is very much like it's almost like this Garden of Eden type of scenario, right? It's like this perfect place that is like it's almost like this idyllic, very like this perfect environment. It's like the earth that, you know, like it's not the earth that went wrong, right? It's like quite the opposite. It's like the earth that is bountiful and beautiful and flourishing and all of that, right? It's like the secret garden that is, you know, very, very rich, and rich in terms of the landscape. But you don't realize that because you're not making a big effort at first, Taurus, to look in that way. So you don't realize that it can be a lot more enriching if you put aside this path that you're walking so diligently. And so it's like you don't realize that you're gaining like this VIP access to the secret garden, to this abundant perspective, because it has to do with this growing branch, this growing, the way that I was seeing, it's like the crown is actually involving the lens, and it's like it's growing. You know, when nature comes to life in movies or like animated movies, right? It's like nature starts speaking and actually coming to life. It's like this is how I'm seeing the emperor. The emperor, it's like this threshold, this secret spot to the secret garden. It's like the ones who get access to it are actually going to witness like nature coming to life, because it's like you understand that the veil that you couldn't see, because it's almost like you were given such a such a privileged point of view, right? It's like if your higher self is pointing directly to the lens, that's what you're going to look through. It's like you're not going to look at the veil itself, but the card that is coming next, it's like the growth of the emperor, of this kind of what is the name of the thing that people use on the door on Christmas time? I can't remember the name, but it's that type of arrangement, right? That type of what is the name of that thing? I can't remember, but you know what I mean. So it's like the organic version of that, but it's almost like that's intertwined with the lens, because the lens is part of the veil. It's just that you're not looking at the veil, right? It's like you're not making that effort still because you're concerned with what you have to do when you get back from this distraction. So you're not realizing the richness of this. And so the Eight of Wands coming next, it's interesting because yesterday the Four of Wands came for the Aries reading, and I was, you know, mentioning how it wasn't actually the Eight of Wands, it was half of it. It was the Four of Wands, and still the Four of Wands was symbolizing for Aries reasons to celebrate, because it's like if it eventually would get to the point of, you know, speeding up things with the Eight of Wands, it's like it would be like, you know, blessings after blessings after blessings. Like it would be, you know, so much abundance. And here it is. But in your reading today, Taurus, the Eight of Wands is also symbolizing the veil itself. So it's almost like you have to take like this step back and adjust the lens. It's like take the time to explore this threshold, explore the veil, explore this curtain made of, you know, a living thing, right? Like it's like a natural element, that it's a living being, right? It's like this being that is starting to show itself. It's starting to it's like it's starting to become alive. And it's so gorgeous because when you do so, when you understand that it's not about the stars, maybe it's not about what you have to look, you know, so far away, it's actually the veil itself. It's like that's what you want to explore, right? That's what is coming to life in a sense. And you know, becoming, because okay, so maybe I didn't mention this in a way that it deserves, but it's like here, it's like the wreath, that's a word, right? Wreath, the wreath of the Emperor. It's like it's intertwined here, and then it's interlacing and overlapping and just, you know, curling and growing over the lens. But then it gets to a point that is so big, it's so, you know, it's like falling in front of the lens. And that's when the Eight of Wands is coming up, because it's like it's now the threshold itself in front of the lens, so that you're like it's like you have to adjust the lens. And when you do, it's like what you see, it's this Knight of Cups. So it's interesting because before, the Knight of Cups was coming through as like this very surprising appearance, right? It's almost like you meeting a friend that you haven't seen in such a long time, or you like having this very, it's like this very blissful and very joyful and very loving and very kind and very just emotional appearance. But now that I'm talking about the veil in the way that it's coming to life, it's almost like maybe it's like the veil is going to become this, you know, this friend of yours. It's like it's going to embody some sort of personality that you're going to recognize in your own heart, like your buddy, right? Your best friend, it's like part of your soul, part of your family, right? It's like what makes the veil, right? What is like this living being that is, you know, just building the veil in a very organic way. So it's like it's growing up like this secret garden type of boundary, right? It's like the living fence. So, but it's very it's like it's approachable now. It's like it's being seen. It's like now you're adjusting the lens in a way that you're able to see, because you're seeing, here you were looking at your work and diligently looking at it and working at it, right? But here, it's like when you understand, it's like what exactly is that you're looking at, it's almost like you start paying attention to this thing that is growing in front of, you know, it's just falling, right? It's like the falling leaves. It's like this thing that is now in front of the camera. It's like now you have to look at it, right? It's like you want to, it's like you want to cross over to the other side, because it's like it's interesting, right? It's like you have to adjust your perspective. And when you do, it's like there it is, like your great friend that you haven't seen. And it's like the most gorgeous thing, because you're reading, well, at least this part is ending with this big hug. It's like this very warm and just heartfelt hug with the Seven of Cups. It's interesting because the Seven of Cups, it's been showing up a few times, but it's been a while that I have seen this card with this imagery of a hug, a warm hug, like this heartfelt embrace. And this is how I'm seeing, because it's like it's almost like yes, you're surprised to see like how intimate or how familiar you feel around them, right? Or surrounded by them, because they're like, you know, it's like they're growing closer and closer and closer, so that when you direct your attention to it, because it's in front of you, there's no denying that it's like this is what you're looking at. It's like you start seeing them, and then it comes to focus. And when it does, it's like they're ready to reciprocate the hug, right? It's like they have their arms open essentially, and you're like, oh my God, I understand now why, you know, my higher self wanted me to look in this direction, because it's because of them. It's not necessarily because of, you know, a magical manifestational tool, or, you know, whatever it is. It's not about the work. It's about like becoming friends with the veil, right? Or, you know, crossing the veil with a friend, finding that your friend is on the other side waiting for you. And it's interesting because it's not this, right? It's like they already live on the other side, right? Your higher self is already a permanent resident of the other side. But it's almost like maybe they know that this one was already there waiting for you, and perhaps like ready to embrace you. But it's like if you didn't put aside this work, it's like you wouldn't be able to see and explore this new relationship, right? This new friendship. It's like this warm embrace, Taurus. It's so gorgeous. It's so lovely. Okay, so I am going to pull more cards for you, as well as the astrological rooms in the extended reading. So if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find the link down below. If not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.